Well, we are going a slightly different way out of Newton this time. Of course, the last time I tried to do a ride out from Ed's, we went the other way, and yeah, that's when Laren broke down. It's funny because I can laugh at things like that now. It wasn't particularly funny at the time. You never want your bike to break down. But it was also nice to see that my friends are my friends, because they all came back for me. Zach came back first, followed by Dale, and eventually everybody came back. And then of course Zach stayed with me whilst we fixed the bike. So that's true friendship right there. And I can laugh at it now, because it's done. It's a memory. I may have missed Jolly's bike night that night, but it's a memory anyway that I can laugh at. So what are we up to today? Well, we managed to get 5 of us together to take a ride out across the moors. It's something that I found was actually quite a nice thing to do last year, something to, you know, signify the end of the biking season, if there is such a thing. Not to get that argument running again, but it's either the end of the biking season, or at the very least it's the end of the good weather. Well, would you look at that, Rafiki has just reached 13,000 miles. Not bad for a motorbike that had almost 8,000 miles on the clock when I bought him. So I have finally done 5,000 miles. And it only took 7 years. Anyway, what was I talking about before I got distracted by Rafiki's mileage? Yes, we managed to get 5 bikes together today to take a ride out across the moors. So, as well as myself on my 125, in front of me is my son on his Lexmoto LXS 125. In front of Jack is Mia on her Lexmoto LXR SE. That's the 2025 model that I was fortunate enough to get to ride a couple of months ago. And then in front of Mia we've got Ed on the Triumph Bonneville. Very nice bike. And then in front of Ed we've got Michelle riding the Honda Hornet, the bike that I can never remember its name, unfortunately. I know it's a Honda because they are mad on Hondas. Hornet, that's the name I can never remember. So what's that then? So we've got, I think the Hornet's a 600, the Bonnie is a 900, and then we've got a trio of 125s at the back. Yes, I could have brought my big bike, but I knew that at least 2 125s were joining us, and I felt like I wanted to take Rafiki across the moors with the other 125s. So the last 12 months have been interesting, plenty of ups and downs, and thinking about Lauren's recent breakdown reminds me that about 12 months ago is when she blew her radiator at Pen Inn, and I can almost laugh about that now. I mean, I could laugh about it, but then I automatically start thinking about the amount of work that it created, and it wasn't a good place for the bike to be. I loved the fact that I put a aluminium radiator on that bike, but I wouldn't want to do all that work again, not unless it was planned. You know, if it was part of a build or a rebuild, but not when your bike just decides it's had enough of its old radiator. See, I'm laughing about it now. I guess it's been long enough that I can laugh about it. It wasn't long after that that we did the Christmas bike, the Lexmoto Vixen 125, known as Freedom. That was interesting. In fact, for the most part, that was quite fun, and I got to work on a motorbike with my son, and we managed to get that bike an MOT, which was great. Although that bike has now gone, it's been sold back to Ed. Although that bike has now gone, I do still have fond memory of the Christmas bike. So that was a good one. Shortly after that, we actually said goodbye to the Lexmoto LXS that my son is now riding. So as far as ups and downs go, when we took that bike away in the garage, yeah, I was a bit gutted, because I knew how much my son wanted to ride the bike. It just wasn't the right time for him, so I was quite gutted. But then fast forward 6 months, 7 months, however long it was, and yeah, here he is now riding the Lexmoto LXS. So that was definitely a down and an up. Paint and bike nights, they came back. Jolly's bike nights came back. In fact, I remember going to the first Jollies of the year with Ed, and he had the Bonnie with him. Yes, I took Lauren to the first Jollies, and I was excited for the new season, and I wasn't going to miss any of it, but of course I did. Yes, shortly after Jollies started, we then had Paint and Bike Nights return, which is always the best day of the year. Forget birthdays and Christmases. The first Paint and Bike Night of the year, that's the best day of the year for me. And yes, I made it. I was slightly late. Simon was already there, he'd already had his drone up. And of course, the milkshake run returned, which is always going to be a favourite of mine, along with the bike nights. And like I say, I was determined to miss none of it. But of course, by the time Paint and Bike Nights came back, I'd started some major work to this bike. And again, as far as ups and downs go, wow, I think this bike hit an all-time low this year. That was quite a prolonged period of this bike being off the road, and could have been quite depressing actually had I not had access to another bike. But actually I'm going to remember it as a good thing, because not only is Rafiki back on the road now, but to look at what we've done, you know, his new tyres, his refurbished wheels, chain and sprocket, we did his shock link, we did his swing arm, we finally managed to crack the problem with the stator and regulator, and so I'm going to chalk that up to a positive experience, simply because so many outcomes of this bike being off the road, there are so many positive outcomes that I have to now see it as a positive experience. We're almost off-roading at this point. At least that's what it looks like, with all these leaves and mud. Should we call it mud? Smells like mud, or rather it doesn't smell like something else. Next year I definitely want to get out on more ride outs and do more bike nights. That had been the plan for this year, but Rafiki took up a lot of my time. I would like to get out on the London run with Simon, and also this year I didn't manage to do the, what's it called? I forgot what it was called last year as well. Portland Bill. Sorry James. Let's take a rain check. I would still love to do that ride out. So in amongst the ups and downs, we've got some achievements that are worth noting, like getting this bike back on the road. I really think that moving forward I should do my maintenance and work and upgrades during the winter, and then that way I'd be able to enjoy more of the summer. Maybe. It seems to make sense. Whether it actually happens or not, well, we'll find out next year, won't we? Yeah, getting this bike back on the road was an achievement. Lauren's battery upgrade, she is 10 times better. Doing that battery upgrade, I've not had a single starting problem with Lauren since doing that battery upgrade. That's a bloody achievement. And then I think about the group, because it's not just about me and my bikes. I think about the group and what the group have achieved. And I mean, the 4 people that we've got here, let me look at their achievements. Well, directly in front of me is Jack, and in front of Jack is Mia, and this time last year neither of them were riding. Massive achievements to both of them for getting bikes, getting on the road and riding all sorts of roads in all sorts of weathers. Quite an achievement for both of them. In front of Mia is Ed, and I don't think I've actually ever mentioned on the channel that Ed has been working towards his IAM qualification, and he passed that this year. Massive achievement there for Ed. And leading us today, of course, is Michelle on the Honda Hornet. There you go. I remembered the name of that bike twice in one day. I won't be doing that again. But yes, this time last year Michelle was on a 125 with L plates, but Michelle has now passed her full A category. So again, massive achievement there. There are a couple of other people who couldn't join us today. My other friend Ed with the Cafe Racer, his CBT ran out and he got that redone, which was excellent news. His MOT had also run out and there was a few problems there, but he got that sorted. Unfortunately he couldn't join us today. But yes, some massive achievements from everyone that is on this ride out today. Well, I'm pretty sure that this is either Tavistock or we're almost there. And I must say that we've done really well with the weather actually. It has rained all week and the forecast suggests that it's going to be raining all of next week. And today is one dry day in amongst 2 weeks worth of wet weather. So we definitely picked the right day for it. It's not particularly warm. It's about 12 to 14 degrees, something like that. but it's dry, and that's the important thing. I must say I don't know much about Tavistock, other than we came here last year, and I remember the food. I remember the full English breakfast being particularly nice. So hopefully this year's food will be just as nice.